Hey guys, I have some really sad news. Daniel Sahad, the frontman from Austin indie rock soul band Nané, has passed away over the weekend. I don't know any details. I don't think people really do, but that doesn't really matter right now. The fact is that we lost a really beautiful member of our music scene and somebody who was really out there lifting spirits on a constant basis, not only in his music and in his performances, but also in his personal life. I had Nané on. I had Daniel and Ian Green, their guitar player and his musical partner, who my heart goes out to, on the show a couple of times, once in 2019 and once in 2020. You will hear both of those shows put together back to back in a minute after I stop talking. And but I just wanted to say I thought the world of Daniel. I thought he was a really sweet guy. I thought I got to work with him for like a whole month a couple of years ago on Austin Music Foundation Artist Development Program album when he was an engineer at the Bubble, and getting to spend that kind of intimate time getting to know him and talking to him and watching him work and just kind of like, vibing with him for hours on end, for a month. It was really nice. And I just thought the world of him, and his smile, his joy, his passion for music and for life was infectious. Being around him, and he not only lifted the spirits of his audiences and stuff, but he was very supportive of other bands. The last time I saw him and Ian Green, I saw them a couple months ago at a show, and hugged them both. Saw that giant smile, made my night. And it was great catching up with them a little bit and seeing how they're doing. They were very happy. They're very excited about the trajectory that their band was on. I mean, Nané was really on their way to becoming something that might be like the next Black Pumas kind of vibe, Anyway, I enjoyed my time with Daniel, and if any of you were around him, I'm sure you did as well, and I'm sure you'll miss him. I miss him. My heart goes out to his bandmates, especially Ian Green. What a lovely guy. I've also enjoyed getting to know him. I hope that he's okay. And my heart goes out to his family, to Daniel's family, and to all of his friends, and to our music community. When something like this happens, we come together and we celebrate the life of an amazing artist. And I was fortunate enough to have two great conversations with Daniel Sahad and Ian Green from Nané. Once episode 826 from August 2019, and then episode 988 from November of 2020, or from November of 2020. Sorry, when they put out their first record. So I guess without further ado, enjoy. I don't know if you enjoy it. Just. It's nice to hear somebody that you'll miss and that you do miss talking about what they love, being excited about it, and there's a lot of joy in both of these conversations with Daniel and Ian. So, rest in peace, Daniel. My love goes out to your bandmates, your family, your friends, and special hug out to Ian Green. Here are my conversations with Nané.
You got a lot of toys in here, man.
Yeah, I've got other ones over here too.
Is that an Elliott Smith set list?
That is Elliott Smith's set list, like his actual set list.
That's awesome.
Yeah, a tour manager of mine took it from him when he was working a show that he played, and knew I was a big fan, And then my cousins had it framed, and they made me a CD with all those songs in that order, which I thought was sweet.
That's so cool.
That's amazing, yeah.
Yeah.
Everything means nothing to me to end the set. Ooh.
Yeah. That guy wasn't light on being heavy.
Not at all.
Well put.
He had some heavy shit going on. Hey, so did you guys are recording this record with Adrian?
Yes, yeah.
Holy shit, man.
He's engineering our record. He's been awesome. Yeah, Electric Deluxe is just a badass studio, man.
And he's a badass.
He's a badass human.
Human and badass just with music and production.
Yeah, it really kind of took everything to the next level working there. Having him engineer was amazing.
Yeah.
And then John Speece was producing the album.
Oh, yeah.
Drummer for...
Got the
He's
Speece.
been on here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
baby.
Heard his episode.
I love that dude.
Yeah, he's awesome. He also completely brought those songs to another level.
Yeah, what he did to the arrangements is, beyond what we could have imagined. But we all tried to produce it to the best of our ability.
Yeah.
And then he came in and he's another member of the band,
Yeah. That's the way it
He
should
just
be.
won't play with us.
Right, and also, like, he doesn't have to deal with what happens after he hands you the record. He's like,
Exactly.
You're welcome, bros. And he just gets to go to some shows and have a good time. He doesn't have to be in the van fighting with dudes.
Yeah, we were actually just talking about that on the way here. We were like, man, we're about to get a lot more tired of each other than we already are. But not in a bad way.
Just
Not in a
because
bad
we
way.
have plans to,
How
tour a lot
long
next year.
have you two been knowing each other?
Well, we got to know each other per a friend's suggestion about my sophomore, junior year in college. So maybe 5 years now.
I think 5
5 years we've been hanging out, and we just played music together, and we played a few covers just for our friends in college, and we got together, and one night after a few drinks, we're like, we should start a band.
Let's do something.
We should
start a band. No one's thought of that.
Because when we would sit down, right, it was the first.
Yeah, but
I'm
like,
so
look what
bold.
happens when some people do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Can be
look
fun.
at Black Pumas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
Those guys were like, oh, let's start a band. Like Adrian. Like, probably,
Right?
I don't know how Adrian answered that question. Like, Eric was probably like, hey, let's start a band. He's like, all right, so I'm in like 82 bands. Are we going to be playing a lot?
I've got 15 minutes on Thursday.
How many songs can we get done in that 15 minutes?
Yeah.
A lot, apparently.
Apparently,
And
hit
amazing
record.
songs too.
Yeah.
Incredible songs.
So you guys met, started playing a little bit, and started a band.
Right. Well, I mean, we reacted to each other so well. And like, he would just start playing something, and I'm very much so do like the vessel method of writing, where it's like whatever comes up comes out, and we realized just immediately how much chemistry we had together.
Yeah.
And so we're like, we should just do this. We wrote some songs, and we spent a year developing songs and collecting the best players we could find one at a time.
Our bass player, Scott, it's also been there from the beginning. He's a guy who played in a few bands throughout the years, and immediately was like, Scott needs to be the bass player. And he worked incredibly well with us from day one. Was it New Year's Day?
It was New Year's Day.
2018?
Yeah.
I think that was the first day we wrote. And it just immediately was like, bam, we're hitting the ground
And
running.
so I don't know the rest of the tunes, but the tune "Do It Alone," fucking great. And you recorded
you.
that live with Matt. Matt's been on the show.
Yeah,
too. He's
yeah,
a great dude.
We
Yeah,
recorded it with Matt.
it's a great studio.
He's
Amazing.
a great studio. It's beautiful, and he's such a talented engineer. I actually had never been to that studio before that, and I didn't realize this thing is like, I just hadn't even conceptualized it. I mean, it's gorgeous. It's filled with all this vintage gear. That thing's got to be worth so much money.
It's a
And
cool
his
dude.
ear is worth even
Yeah.
more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was super cool to like.
I've never actually been there, but I've seen pictures.
Oh, it's bad.
I need to
dude.
go there.
It's
Yeah,
sick.
I need to go there and record.
Yeah, so that was actually the first song we wrote together. That's why we recorded that one, because it's not going to be on the record.
It's not?
No.
No.
Dude, that
it's-
song is like on fire, dude. That song is like what rock and roll is all about,
Thanks.
man.
Yeah,
That's
that-
what I was gonna say. Is like, if it's just one tune, like at first when Jenny told me about you guys,
Uh-huh.
and she's like, "Oh yeah, you got to check these guys out." I'm like, "They don't even have a fucking record." And then I just went to your YouTube link before I wrote her back a thing saying they don't even have a fucking record. Like, what are you sending me, some weird band that like doesn't even like have music? And so I went and saw that song, and I was like, oh yeah, yeah. These guys, they don't really need a hold. Like they could, like as long as you have that song, then you can, then you're cool with me.
Yeah, that's
I don't know what
awesome.
that means, but
Well,
you're definitely cool with
We've
me.
been fortunate to kind of have a good energy surrounding this whole thing and being able to consistently see people.
Yeah,
which is yeah.
No. I was just about to say that I know that there's got to be some Austin musicians here because as much as and supportive and behind each other we all are and inclusive we can all be. There is the person right now going like, they're opening for fucking Black Pumas. They don't even have a fucking record. You know what I mean?
They don't even have a song
someone
out?
right now is on the trail, like very angry with you guys.
And I don't blame them. I mean, it's
well,
crazy.
hey man, you know what? Whatever. If your other songs are better than that one to go on a record that this one's not going on, then fuck me, dude. Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry to drop so many f-bombs, but I'm excited.
I don't think "Do It Alone" holds a candle to the other songs on the record. It's not even close.
Yeah.
So let me ask you one quick question about that version of that song. Is that literally that's live? That is
100% live. Every
live.
single aspect, except I think we went back and overdubbed a few during the during the chorus, just because we needed more voices.
I did have a question about that.
Yeah, that was the only section.
We wanted that to be stronger than just a couple of guys, or I think it was just me.
It was just him.
But the band is that hot.
Every single second of the rest of it is like complete integrity intact.
It gives me fucking goosebumps, man. That is, you guys are on fire, man.
Thank you.
That's why you get to, because you're good. So I mean, so you guys, you got together with your bass player on the 1st of January in 2018.
Yes.
Right.
And then spent a year writing.
Right. And we kind of did it in what some call a backwards order because we had our record written by our first show, which was January 30th, I think.
Well, that's always good to have like a record's worth of material.
January 20 something. We had the record written. You know, it hadn't been produced yet by John at the time, but we had our first show and so we were ready. That's kind of how we wanted to operate. And we had our 10 to 15 songs written.
You guys, did you rehearse a lot?
I'd say so. I mean, all of our writing sessions, which we did once every 2 weeks or so, we would rehearse our current songs. And sure, when you have 4 songs, it's much easier to do. And then as they grew, the sessions got longer. And but since I was so close to Ian in college and I grew so close to Scott, we were really just hanging out. You know, these were before I started a band with Ian, we hung out. You know, almost every weekend and stuff.
Too much. No,
too much.
No, it's never too much. Don't worry.
Now I'm just nauseous all the time.
That's not me. That's life.
Oh yeah, that's me.
You guys play a lot of shows and you travel and stuff. And how did you kind of like get Continental Club in Houston to?
Well, we got invited by the guy who actually introduced us to each other.
Oh, really? Okay.
He plays in a band in Houston called Wax Dream.
They're actually opening for the Black Pumas
in Houston.
Axelrod in Houston.
Oh, cool.
So,
so he told me that I needed to meet Ian and vice versa, and then he actually played some covers with us in college, and when we had some parties and stuff.
What were those covers? I'd be interested
to see. It was like the Black Keys, George Ezra, because he had like a low, boomy kind of voice, and I did that. What else was it?
Oh,
what was the other?
We did
bigger one.
Foster the People.
Oh yeah, we did
just
Foster
stuff
the People.
that people knew.
What was that song?
Pumped Up Kicks.
Yeah,
that was the one we did. Yeah, it's a good song.
Portugal the Man song.
Yeah,
I think Portugal the Man. Yeah.
Yeah,
that one. Yeah.
You got a high voice too, man.
Oh, so that's actually hold out for the record. Most of the songs are falsetto. So
didn't even know you could do
falsetto
that.
and fuzz.
Until
that's kind of the thing. That's why you're like, do it alone. Okay,
man.
It's not even close, man.
John kind of brought that out too.
Yeah.
He kind of heard your falsetto and he went, "Wait, that's what you're doing that." Not the whole record. Obviously, there's variety
but
of
you're
sounds,
singing.
but.
Yeah. I'm excited. You guys come with like before. You don't have to leave now. We still got a lot more to talk about. But you'll come back on.
Ian's
when the
halfway out the door. For everyone listening at home, he's halfway out the door right now.
I got the car started. Got to cool it off. It's hot.
Well, I wish I had listened to it before because I would have something to reference. But I am excited just at the prospect, just like probably whoever's listening is. So you guys, where was that first gig that you played?
We played. Staygold gave us, the opportunity to call them a home for two of our first 3 shows.
Yeah,
and so we love them. We have a debt of gratitude for them just because they hosted us whenever we were like all. You know, when you start a band, the very first few shows, they're just relying on the promise that we're like, well, dude, we're pretty good. And there's no proof of that.
Right. What was the first? I think the first show was.
How do you talk someone into that?
We had
did
tracked
like a
a
live
live cover, or not cover, a live recording at our buddy Scott's house where we rehearsed.
So you did have something.
We
You
had
didn't.
something.
You weren't just go
And-
like, hey, trust me, man. Look at us.
Take my word
That
for it.
first show,
we got a lot of hair.
I want to say,
Bring us in.
at the risk, I think we hopped on a bill at the first show. Not Scott was playing in another band called Wrong Bird, and they're buddies of ours. And I believe that it was us having something to show, so the venue wasn't just like they don't have anything. And then them giving us a chance to kind of play that night as well, and it went well. So
it went well.
we thank them too. But Stay Gold was able to be like, oh, okay, you guys can come back now.
Yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
I think
that
there
was really nice.
There was well over like 200 people there, and I just remember, I was just emotionally shitting my pants because I hadn't actually sang in front of a crowd like this, any original songs. I didn't come from a long history of music like everybody else. And so I had been preparing for years to some degree.
And you had
so,
sung like in the room with the bands. You'd sung when you were, but you
Yeah,
never gotten up in
and
front of a
rang it-
room
we-
full of 200 people and
No,
fronted a
not like
band
that.
and you'd be a lead singer of a band.
Yeah,
Sweat.
no, that's the day I was
But you
born.
got that together pretty fast, man.
That's the day I was born. The rest of the pieces came together. It's true.
Yeah.
I found the rest of myself up there, and I remember outside before the first show, I couldn't bring myself to go inside and mingle with everybody. I was pacing up and down that street. I don't know if it's Cesar Chavez or what that cross street is, and I was just trying to remember all the lyrics, like just a crazy person.
Yeah.
And I walked inside seconds before the show, and delivered a performance, and but I mean, I was shaking the first 2 or 3 songs. It's a very authentic human moment where I kind of had like, I could just feel myself developing and growing, and with that concept of like, trauma comes a little bit of shake and a little bit of growth and all that.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I came together.
Well, what would be really interesting to hear is like just sort of like psychologically what was happening from the second before the band even started. Like, were you like,
Oh, so
hey everyone, hey everyone, hi, we're Nané. Here was rock and roll. You know what I mean? Like, what do you do?
You might have just jumped.
No,
in
I
to
think
this.
that our opening song starts with a really strong guitar riff.
You're
so
welcome. No.
Thanks to Ian. So it spoke for itself, and I just said a few words over it. But pretty much when I was on my way in, I just kind of had to convince myself and remind myself that none of this was by accident. Sometimes when you're in high pressure situations, you forget the fact that all of the decisions in your life that you've made up to that point could have geared you and pushed you into this direction. And we sometimes think it's by accident, maybe by some Freaky Friday switch, that we're now in this predicament. And I had to think back on some events and think, no, 100% I belong here. I live here. I'm just reclaiming, and not even just claiming for the first time the person that I was always supposed to be. So that mixed with a booming guitar riff for me kind of melted the rest away.
So at the end of the show, could you even remember what happened, or were you just like
No,
seeing
I think
red
I blacked
the whole
out for
time?
like 3 days. No, I'm just kidding. No.
No, but I've had shows that are very intense, and the next day you wake up and you're like, it was just like intensity going back and forth between the audience and you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. No, it wasn't one of those situations. I feel like I remember it pretty well, and I connect with the audience so much. A lot of true. I mean, you have to come to one of the shows. You'll see.
Yeah.
So I had to be fully emotionally present. So I think that kind of forced me into even remembering it. As a byproduct of that, I was truly mindful of the situation.
That's awesome. This is going to come out later on, but are you guys playing this Saturday, the 27th or something?
Friday.
We're playing on
Oh,
Friday.
shit. I'm playing in
26th.
Houston on Friday.
No, we're actually playing. It's at Swan Dive for
Okay.
Hot Summer Nights.
Yeah, with
Indoor Creature, Mama Hawk.
Subtle motion and chill bill.
Okay.
It'll be fun.
Well, I can't go to that show, and I don't think I can go to the Black Puma show either because I'll be traveling.
We'll be around.
Okay.
Playing Stubbs on the 31st as well of this
Oh, yeah,
month.
of
July.
of
Yeah,
July?
Yeah.
What is the 31st? Is
I
that
think it's a
Wednesday?
Wednesday or Thursday.
It's a Wednesday.
I'll be there.
because I leave town.
Yeah,
Cool.
I'll come out.
Great.
Yeah,
I
there's
would love to
this-
come see you guys.
There's an LA band coming into town called Proxima Parada, and we're opening for them at Stubbs.
Okay, here's the thing is like also when I first Jenny was telling me about you guys, she's like, "Oh yeah, they work with Adrian Casala. They're called Nané." And I thought this was like a fucking Latino band, like
Yeah.
a psych, a Latin psych rock band,
Like a
like these
cumbia
guys,
band that
yeah,
you're
like what
going
they
in.
have, whatever it is, like one of those weird, awesome, but crazy, like weed smoking electric guitar cumbia bands.
Yeah.
No, I mean we can do that
With
too, for
fuzz.
fun.
Well, sometimes.
Not
very well. We'd
And
like
not
to do
as
it
well as
just
the bands around.
drunkenly for ourselves, maybe. Maybe we can practice that.
Daniel, can I ask you a question? If the president were to demand that you go home,
I don't even know where I'd go.
because you hate America, what's the origin? What's your country origin of your Sahad?
I
right?
am Dominican. My parents are both Dominican, but my grandmother on my father's side is Cuban.
Hey, I'm Cuban.
Are you?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I read that in your bio, actually. I knew that. So, and then also my great-grandfather on my father's side was from Lebanon. So I'm kind of
That's where
this...
the Sahan comes from.
Yeah. I'm kind of this like amalgamation of like black, white, Hispanic, and Arab, all come together. If I look at each of my grandparents, that's what I'm seeing. So if you tell me to go home, I'm not going
reply would be
anywhere.
like, I don't know, dude.
I don't know where to
to go.
Can I stay here?
I'd go to England, Scotland.
I don't know where.
Boring places.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have anything interesting to offer.
You look like you would be, and I don't mean this in a bad way. I mean this in the sweetest way ever. You would seem like you would be sent back to the set of Happy Days
Oh, great.
because you have a very all-American, nice guy look.
That's
And
right.
maybe
that's
the
where I met
hair,
him.
something with
Maybe
the hair.
a little bit.
It's not as kept as it should be. but-
Not that you look like Ron Howard, but I don't know if you remember the first season of Happy Days. I'm 50, so I remember some weird
Yeah.
things. But the first season, he had an older brother named Chuck.
Okay. So I'm the older brother in Happy Days.
Yeah.
I've always known, deep down.
You have this Chuck Cunningham vibe to
Okay.
you.
Yeah.
That's great.
He's got the same Gary Coleman. He's like 63 years old, though. Ian is.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's inappropriate.
Gary Coleman. Yeah. Gary Coleman.
Yeah, Gary Coleman, man.
Oh, yeah. Man, I'm sorry.
I think he
Took me a
passed
second.
away, didn't he? There's so
I
many
don't
people
know.
have passed away. I
If
heard
so,
Art
rest in
Neville
peace, and I
passed
didn't
away
mean it.
today. If
Yeah,
you guys
he
are Neville
did.
Brothers fans.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was tragic. And rest in peace to.
Yeah. All right, so you played this first gig at Swan Dive, then you get a couple more. How did you start getting the word out and getting out and like? I mean, how? Oh shit, it's over there. How long have you guys been playing shows?
We started in late January.
Okay, of this year.
Of this year. So what is that? 6 months?
6 months.
Yeah,
6, 7.
When did you record that video that I watched?
Was that in May?
May?
I think it was in May. Early May.
So you're exponentially better from then now.
I'd
Oh,
like to
yes.
think so, yeah.
Oh yes, quite a lot.
Who are you
better.
guys?
We're trying to be here.
We're trying to define that right now with our branding, I suppose.
So how did Speece come to the project?
It's a long story, I suppose.
Well, we got time.
4 or 5 years in the making. So I actually am living with his daughter, Georgia. She's great. She is my girlfriend. That's why
Okay.
she's also even better than a roommate.
Yeah.
And I've been playing music my whole life, but I didn't know her dad. I maybe knew he was a musician or something and played in some bands. And then, of course, throughout the years of us being in a relationship, I got to know him a bit better. And then one day she kind of told me, hey, he's looking to like work with young bands or something, like you should talk to him. I was like, no way, are you kidding me? Like that's so
like
weird. I'm
like
so
having to talk to her dad anyway, isn't it? Because I'm thinking about it and I'm like,
Me?
oh yeah, I don't
Yeah.
even know Speece on that level. He's a bro of mine.
Exactly.
You know
And
what I mean?
I didn't feel like I was even bro level at that point. I was like still trying to
Yeah.
be the impressive
Oh, God,
boyfriend.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then she was telling me to do that because, she knows her dad and she's like, oh, it's fine. Like you can talk to him. I'm like, no, I don't know. Guy's like 6'5" and like big
It
beard.
looks like
Have
he
you-
would eat
his
your
hands-
face if he was angry
His
with you.
hands are like
Yeah.
bigger than pans. Like
Yeah.
just one punch.
And I'm sitting there
Lights
like,
out,
oh,
dude.
I don't know
Especially
about that.
with Ian's like
I don't want to get punched.
Russian Happy Days frame.
My
It
Happy
just
Days frame.
lights out.
The deck. And that happened. No, so that was never on the table for me. Kind of like not at all, especially since there was nothing really going on. But then this started to take shape and Daniel was kind of like, let's use that, let's do that. That's
talk
a
to him.
good
I mean, he's
person to know. He's going to
An incredibly talented musician, and I encourage him. Let's talk to him and see if he'd be interested in working with us.
Yeah.
And he was given.
And he
our
wouldn't
initial-
just say yes, I'd like to think. He's
No.
definitely a guy who would, take the time to vet what he was getting into and
Oh,
determine.
I don't
if
think
it's
he
worth
would put his
time.
name on shit he didn't.
Never.
completely.
Yeah.
So
Everyone who knows him
that
knows
means
he's.
yeah,
And
means
that-
a lot to us.
In Austin, that's the integrity thing was built in to those of us through the 90s and stuff. You know what I mean?
That's why I felt a little uncomfortable, kind of being like, "Oh,
Yeah.
let me just. I have some music." Like,
But what you guys are doing is so authentic, and it's obviously from the heart. I mean, to me, like a band playing music, it seems like a rare thing in mainstream culture now. But there's probably more rock bands now than ever, that just aren't being heard by everyone.
Right.
But and it's when one comes along, and it's very exciting, even just from one song. I mean, honestly, like that song blew me away, and that didn't even have anything to do with those guys that I think work magic, as like Adrian and Spies are both like huge. They're huge to me. Like they're, when I hear their work, I'm always blown away, and like I want to go get better at what I do because of them, and that's probably one of the greatest gifts that they have.
Of course, and it's just that like seemingly like untarnished like public presence, as well as like these are figures we admired, and to humanize them
They're
in a
good
way
men.
when they wanted to
Yeah.
work
They're
with, in the way that they worked with us and wanted to was, I mean, just the most inspiring thing. That's another reinforcing thing that helped us become who we were.
Yeah,
being around that energy for sure, and just in the studio, and having them there to guide is just couldn't have asked for a better team.
yeah. Those guys have soul, man.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's how that ended up happening.
Yeah.
That's how it happened.
How many songs are on the?
There's 10 songs,
Okay.
but we originally, when we pitched the record, there was about 15 songs, and we cut 5 or so, probably more.
Yeah.
And we narrowed it down to 10.
Cool. So it's going to be a full-length album coming.
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, and we are, it's an indie R&B band, so I know you haven't heard the music yet, but a lot of falsetto and fuzz, a little bit of,
I love that.
yeah.
Yeah, we love Alabama Shakes.
Yeah, Central
recently.
Grooves.
I
and
saw
funk,
some.
rock.
I saw some comparisons. What else do you guys? Black Keys is a good.
Yeah.
Like just the rawness of what I saw in that
Definitely.
video made sense. Like,
Sure,
you guys could
sure.
open for them on tour or something.
Yeah, well, we agree. We hope to.
Well, I'm not there booking.
Let 'em
agent or
know.
Yeah,
manager.
are you sure? Did you let them know? That'd be awesome.
Next time they're here playing,
Yeah.
when Patrick Carney's playing my electronic Yamaha drum thing.
Oh,
Yeah, if you don't mind,
I'll let 'em
you
know.
got the time.
yeah. We got one video.
That's
Yeah,
all you need, man.
big ones for us though. Yeah, it was Alabama Shakes, Duran Jones and the Indications, Jack White, Vampire Weekend, D'Angelo.
D'Angelo comes up with a lot. That's a yeah.
Mm-hmm.
D'Angelo comes up a lot with musicians. And I never got the. I never sunk my teeth into him. He never sucked his teeth into me. I don't know what happened with me and D'Angelo, but there's a lot of people that like.
Give it another listen.
I think
all the
I'd
way
need
through,
to.
Man. Yeah, it'll stay with you. And he was huge. But yeah, those were who I would say were some of the major influences. Ian, do you have any other?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Where are you guys from? Like, where are you from, Daniel?
So I grew up I was between Dominican Republic and then Amarillo, Texas, which are like the same place.
My brother
it's a
just
seamless
lived
transition.
in the Dominican for like 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What was he
working
doing
there.
there?
He was working for this company that was making aluminum, or maybe it wasn't making them. He was importing. He was the person that distributed aluminum things for cigars. Those little aluminum
nice.
tubes. Yeah,
Yeah, that's everyone's job there. So
exactly.
Just kidding.
That bananas are big there.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, we do.
Is
They get
sugarcane
bananas.
big there?
Sugarcane's huge. Main
Yeah.
export sugarcane and
Baseball.
cocoa leaves. Baseball. They provide 33% of the MLB's baseball players.
Did you have an accent?
No, I
When
think
you
I've
were in
always
Amarillo?
had the lack of an accent.
Okay.
I think I have no colloquial indications as to where I'm from.
Yeah.
But maybe somebody listening can correct me and say that I sound like I'm from
there is-
Montana,
No, you don't sound like Montana.
Not Montana. Definitely not.
South Korea.
No.
Not there either.
No, you do. There is some kind of accent, right?
Yeah, it's subtle.
I have to
It's-
confirm
I don't know,
with
I
another
was-
white
yeah,
dude.
he was- What about you, man?
I guess I'm used to the voice. I don't even take me back to 5 years ago when I first heard you talk, maybe. But I it's hard to discern now. He just sounds like Daniel now.
Yeah, you sound like Daniel.
Sound like
So what like when you say you grew up between the Dominican Republic and Amarillo,
So actually, all of my family's in the Dominican Republic.
Right.
with excluding one uncle in Spain. But so I still go 2 or 3 times a year, probably more. When I was growing up, I'd probably spend 3 or 4 months out of the year there.
Okay.
So, and then going back and forth from West Texas, where my parents were. So my parents immigrated here when they were, oh, that's a lot, 30 years ago. All right,
Okay.
I'm 26 now.
Okay.
So 4 years before I landed on Earth. So
They came here from Dominican Republic.
yeah, man, they made a little tour, New York, Detroit, all the fun places, and then ended up in sweet, in God's backyard, Amarillo, Texas.
Why did they end up there?
Honestly, I mean, there was a community of certain,
Yeah, there's
Hispanic culture that they had gone to school with back in Dominican Republic, and they found peace with that. And then, well, they just recently moved here to Georgetown, so it's cool to be around.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. What did they do? What did your...
They're physicians. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So straight up, I would not be alive if
So
my
medicos.
parents weren't so medicos. I would not be alive if they weren't doctors or my parents.
My maternal grandfather, he passed away a couple years ago. That awesome looking dude over there.
Yeah, what a sharp dude.
Yeah, pretty cool dude. He was a doctor and came from a family like his dad was a doctor, his mother was a midwife. He and his brother are doctors. All 3 of his brother's sons are doctors. All of their kids are doctors. Mm-hmm. And then he had 4 daughters that were like, oh yeah, we're doctor.
We want to do art.
Doctor this, bro. Yeah, and
I get that.
And then I'm the oldest
you.
grandson.
Yeah, that's me.
And he would dress me up. I can show you these photos. They're pretty crazy.
wanna see.
Like he had medical coats made for me when I was 4.
Wow.
And had a stethoscope and cut the tube so I'd have real shit. Like other kids had the Fisher Price shit, and I had
Did you put some Black Flag patches on it and some Van Halen and stuff?
no, that was pre Van Halen and
Okay,
Black Flag, man.
yeah.
That was early 70s. But anyway, so the doctor thing. So were they hey, Daniel, what do you think? You think you might want to?
They never really pushed me into it. It was more so that the resources that were always available, I was doing rounds when I could have done rounds when I was 15 and 16 years old, and some of these, pre-resources that are only accessible to those who were, I was having, and I was always inclined at science, so I thought that's what I was going to do. So I was in an honors program at pre-med at UT for 2.5 years before I realized, I was like, man, I am sad, and I switched out.
I mean, is that a tough talk to go have with your parents? So check it out, guys.
Check it out, guys. This 20-year Play-Doh you've been forming into something just got funny.
You gotta hear this tune I wrote with my friend
What do you
Ian.
guys think?
It's gonna be really
Do you get
good.
it? Do you get it?
What did they say? Well, because Latin culture, especially the father side, is to not be oh, look, he's drawing pictures. I used to get screamed at for that shit when I was a kid.
They were supportive because they obviously wanted me to ensure that there was a future in what I was doing, because they are very much so that cloth that we've been describing.
Right.
But at the same time, they knew that ever since I was little, the way I coped with existing was writing, and I'd always write poems or speeches or anything. I wrote. And they knew that I had this outlet, and that's actually what sang to me. I would sing all the time, to myself, but I just didn't
Stuff
even
you're making
imagine
up. Yeah.
music as an actual career choice, and
Right.
not because of their, neglect or them, pushing me down in any way, but instead because they didn't grow up with that as the option for
Right.
their own career,
Right.
And it isn't any kind of negative, cloud over them. It's just that they didn't imagine that as a profitable career for them, and so they didn't enlighten that to me. But they did encourage me to pursue, the voice that I heard in my head that, created music all the time, and they've been supportive so far. But it was tough initially to go to your parents and say, hey, guys, so these last 3 years have been fun, and by fun I mean shitty. And now
Right.
I want to make art.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, dude, you did it. I'm sure,
did it.
they like the album. You played some stuff for them.
Yeah, they're stoked about it. They still,
When they first saw you play, were they because you hadn't grown up doing it, so they must have just been
it's just what the heck?
Is that our son?
Yeah.
What happened to the Play-Doh?
What happened?
What happened to the Play-Doh?
Went through the fun house, it got the hair and
Distorted in the
everything.
hair.
Yeah.
Did have the hair.
Someone ate half the Play-Doh. What happened?
It's not edible.
What
It's
about
a
you,
mess.
Ian, man? Where are you from?
Yeah, I'm from Austin.
You are?
Haven't
Born and
left.
raised?
Born and raised, yeah.
I've had a couple guys in here born and
Yeah.
raised lately.
Lucky enough.
It's like a unicorn at this
It
point.
very much is. Just lucky enough my parents decided to go to college here and never left. So I was lucky enough to be born here.
Did you grow up going to things like Blues on the Green and shit like that with your parents? And did they go to shows where they...
They're definitely a huge reason why I'm into music.
Cool.
Always, telling me, not forcing me to do it. I mean, I loved to do it,
right.
but I started off on classical guitar when I was about 7.
Wow.
And I've been playing that. Still play it, but that's what I did in UT. I studied classical guitar for a couple years there, and I did the music business program. That was there. You had to play an instrument in that program. Mm-hmm. But I'd been playing for a long time, always been around music. They'd take me to Liberty Lunch.
Yeah, of course.
I'd go see Jonathan Richman there.
Yeah.
And he definitely resonated with me as a kid. And
really?
They were just so catchy. I remember one time, I'm told one time, because I was maybe 3 or 4 years old.
He's a steel
Great
trap.
memory. Nothing gets past me. Jonathan had a show at Liberty Lunch, and he'd had a song on Sesame Street. I think "I'm a Little Airplane" was the song he had on Sesame Street. And I had a chance to meet him. I was with my dad, I guess. Again, this is all being told to me. I don't remember it. And Jonathan asks me, do you have like a favorite song or something? And I go, "Cappuccino Bar," which was one of his songs about just really needing cappuccino. And I just loved that song's got like a energy, like a kind of a Dick Dale breakdown in there, and I just always loved that, and I would play it on my plastic guitar whenever that part would come around. Awesome. And I would just go crazy to that. And so I was Cappuccino Bar, and my dad always says his eyes, he was like, whoa, like, why is this 4-year-old kid like Cappuccino Bar? Funnily enough, I don't really drink coffee or anything, but I loved the song Cappuccino Bar. And then he went up and during his set said, "This one's for the younger generation." He played Cappuccino Bar. Again, that's all alleged. Talked to my parents and asked them if that actually happened, but it's a pretty detailed story.
We want to encourage the audience to buy our record, Cappuccino Bar. From Young Jay.
No affiliation with the Jonathan Richman song, I promise.
I promise. You had no part in it.
So ended up at UT as well. That's where I met Daniel through our friend Chris.
So wait, did you play in bands in high school and shit?
Sort of. I was kind of into sports in high school. I mean, I played, but I was on my basketball team. Definitely had some bands in middle school. High school, I played with my brother a little bit. We would kind of jam, and then I tried to kind of do this EP with him where I'm Ian Green, so we call ourselves the Brothers Green, like the Brothers Grimm, like the fairy tale guys, but the Brothers Green. And I was just obsessed with the White Stripes and Black Keys and stuff. So he was a really good drummer when he was in high school. Actually, he doesn't drum so much anymore, but
isn't that weird when a guy doesn't do it anymore and you're like, yeah, the guys from that's my first gig right there. That was 1983.
That's a good look though, man.
1983, my friend Kayla's birthday.
Oh yeah,
I was 14.
Is this Kayla on the right side?
No, that's my mom. She was at the gig, and she obviously had fashion. Like, she's passed away, but before Kanye even thought about that, like when Kanye was a little kid, she was rocking Kanye glasses at her son's party's first gig at Kayla's birthday party.
That's awesome.
You want to hear something amazing?
Yes.
My first gig playing Kayla's birthday party. In January, I'm playing Kayla's wedding.
What?
Isn't that cool? Yeah.
That's great.
We're friends, believe it or not. We've been friends. She's been giving me work for years, man.
I had this kid play my birthday party a while ago. He was great. I need to bring him back. I haven't seen him in 25 years.
No, we kept up.
I like to think the other way.
Yeah, hey, what are you going to do? Well, are there bands in town that you used to go see that you were into?
Yeah, I definitely, around, I guess, when Lonely Land was out, we'd go see Bob Schneider a lot. When did that, 2000, 2001?
Yeah.
So I've seen Bob Schneider just so often, and he's, what he's been able to do in this city is incredible. So I definitely grew up watching him.
How old were you when you started going to see him?
I was young.
He was that little baby with headphones.
Yeah,
that will mess up your mind. That guy at too early of an age.
It was different. It was less. I mean, places were
explains
crowded, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Going to the first couple ACLs, like, it's nothing like it is today. Like, you just walk in there and like Los Lobos are playing, and It was just a lot easier to get around. I never felt threatened or scared. I don't think I'd want to take my kid to ACL now.
There's like 30,000 people more now.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So whenever people hear that, I'm kind of like, okay, but I was never just out there alone in the middle of a field, just making my way. Ian, here's the schedule.
Yeah.
Got to check out these bands. But they would always take me to the things they thought were important, which ultimately were huge influences on me. I saw David Byrne at La Zona Rosa.
Oh, yeah, dude. Hello.
When I was...
How old are your parents? My age? Like 50?
Yeah, mid-50s. And they brought my brother, too. He's 3 years younger than me. I want to say I was 7 or 6. They brought my brother. He was tired because David Byrne did go until 10. And we were in the front, so they put him on the stage to have a nice nap. And he was just sleeping on the front of the Zona Rosa stage right in front of David Byrne. And he was just looked down at my brother for about 2 seconds and just kept going.
Yeah.
Didn't care. He was like, sure.
He seems like a guy that would be cool if you wanted to put your baby on a stage.
Yeah, he was totally fine with it. I feel like that would be a little...
Not my pedal board.
I'm not sure I would do it. Just stepped on my brother.
Instead of the wah-wah pedal, it's the wham-wham pedal.
Yeah, that's
pretty
good.
That was quick.
Sorry, well,
that was
it was terrible dad joke. I don't even have kids, and I'm throwing dad jokes at you guys.
Well, if you ever do, that's perfect. Just
Thanks,
remember
man.
that.
I'll remember that one.
That concert's definitely another one that stuck. I know it's not a local Austin band, but
No.
that one absolutely has stuck with me my whole life because I think it was also a school night. And the other one is David Bowie at the Backyard. Which just going out there, I just remember him. I do remember this because I maybe was 8 or 9. And he came out just completely in red and just owned in everything, and then just like counts off and Rebel Rebel starts.
Oh, God.
And I just remember being a kid and being like, oh fuck, like
Yeah.
what's happening here?
Yeah.
This is incredible.
Yeah.
And I'm super happy that my parents were cool and
Yeah.
let me go to these things.
How old were you when you saw that?
I think I was 9.
Okay, I was like 14 when I saw him. It was like the
Yeah.
Let's Dance, the Serious Moonlight Tour. I have a great story about that show. Not my story, but a friend of mine that was working a bar at La Zona Rosa, or not La Zona, at a Backyard.
For David
Backyard.
Bowie. Yeah.
He's setting up the bar a few hours before the show when they're sound checking. The band's sound checking, and Bowie's singing for a minute, and then he doesn't see Bowie anymore, but Bowie was in shorts or something, and just like all of a sudden Bowie runs by. He's jogging the perimeter. He's doing his exercise to, before the show, whatever. And he jogs back around again, and he stops in front of my friend John's booth where he's setting up his shit, and he's standing there, and he's like watching the band. He turns around, and he's like, "Hey, I'm David."
Yeah,
Yeah,
we know.
Yeah, that's why I'm here, bro. Yeah. He's like, "Hey, I'm David." He's like, "Hey, I'm John." He's like, "God, don't they sound great?" That's giving me goosebumps. It almost makes me want to start crying. Like, he's like, "Aren't they great?" He's like, "I'm a fucking but I'm a really lucky guy, aren't I?" That's all he said to him. Like, "Look at my band, aren't they great? Like, I'm a really lucky guy." There's no reason for him.
You hear that, Daniel?
Yeah, I'm taking
you hear
notes.
that?
I'm taking notes.
He
Dude,
loves his band.
When I heard that shit, I was just like, "Oh my god, he's even cooler than I dreamed."
Oh, yeah.
But just that sort of level of like, there's no reason for him to even love what he does anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? But he loved it.
Right. And to feel it so deeply.
God damn it, man. That's what I'm in it for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. For life. Unlike those John Speece and Adrian Casella guys, those fly-by-night guys with no talent.
I don't know what we've gotten into. Whew. There was no jogging at all in the recording of the album.
Well, you guys don't need to jog yet.
Ooh,
Yeah, well,
He was like 65 years old or something when they played that show or something, wasn't he?
probably.
Yeah.
'Cause that
I'm
was
so jealous.
Jesus.
maybe
Yeah.
2004 or something like that.
Oh, well, he was younger, but yeah.
But
the
yeah,
the
he was-
pre-heart attack or post-heart attack, maybe? Didn't he have a heart attack?
I think he did. It might have been pre.
Yeah. Whatever.
Can't keep-
Well, any bands you guys like now that are going on around town?
I mean, I think the ones that are the most impressionable to me were the Black Pumas, even just last year before I knew any single person in that band.
Sure.
Just when I was still mustering up the courage to believe myself as an artist, I was seeing them, and it kind of just blazed this trail in front of me, not because I'm trying to follow in their footsteps, but instead because I saw this person who was around my age, someone, Eric Burden, with such a powerful voice, and it made a huge impression on me, It was just, I don't know, it was a voice unlike anything I'd ever heard before.
Yeah.
but still somehow familiar, just
Yeah.
like he is.
Yeah.
And
know what you mean.
they were huge for me. Shaky Graves was huge
Yeah, he's
for
great,
me.
huh? I like that. This is a sweet dude too, man.
Yeah.
Shaky Graves, good dude.
Even which is this is kind of an odd story, but I was at a show before we had even written a song. It was a Mama Hawk show. It was a great band. I'm friends with.
I need
some
to
of
see them. I don't know them yet. I've
Yeah,
heard their
they're-
name a lot.
They're super talented. And I was talking to my buddy Brandon, who was next to me. I was like, man, these guys are so good. And he looked at me and he goes, they're really good. But he goes, you could do this too if you tried. And I was like, what? And he goes, you should get up there and sing. And it was at that show that I remember. It was at Swan Dive. And it's kind of funny. About a year and a half later, I'm going to Swan Dive this weekend to play with them, which is kind of
Awesome.
a poetic moment.
Yeah,
in
that's
itself.
great.
And they were big because of that moment for me, as well as because they're talented.
Yeah, Swan Dive is that place by Elysium.
Yeah, I think it's connected to Barbarella's.
Right. Yeah. I just went there the other. I've seen some comedy shows there, which is weird during the
Interesting.
comedy festival.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Yeah.
big on stand-up comedy too.
You are?
Huge. Listen to it every day.
Do you go to shows here?
I don't go to a lot of shows. I just
Sure.
listen to it in the mornings, kind of to get the gears going, and I don't know. I think it helps keep me sharp. However dull I am, it helps keep me sharp.
Yeah. What do you guys do for work?
I work for they're called MS Communication.
MS?
They own
At
KLBJ.
KLBJ. Yeah,
Bob FM.
Yeah.
101X. So I do some marketing there for them.
I'm friends with those folks.
Yeah. I work really closely with Beto.
Yeah, Vito's an old friend of mine.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, tell him I said hello.
I
please.
will. Yeah,
I love that dude.
He's been
he's a
super
great dude.
helpful with us as well, just kind of telling people about us, spreading the word. He's how we know Jenny.
Yeah, he's been a good friend to us.
So he's been really nice, really helpful. So yeah, that's
Eric
what I do.
Eric Tesmer is great.
He's great.
Yeah.
So talented. Yeah, he was
That guy's
another
on
one. Yeah.
fucking fire,
I've
man.
been to a
He's
few of his
seriously on
shows
fire, yeah.
a year ago, 2 years ago. I was big
We were
on his
just
music.
there when he was at Scoot. It was a great show.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I missed that.
That was awesome.
He, you know who else she's working with that I just had on the other day? Leon the Third. Those guys are great, man.
Yeah, I'm not
think I'm
familiar,
familiar
with
with them.
No.
I wasn't either.
Oh, well, we're going to play some music after
And then
this.
some dude gave me a bathing suit. He owns a company that makes clothes too.
Oh.
I told him I like the bathing suits, and he asked me my size. And
That's
apparently,
nice.
a bathing suit is coming.
That's pretty cool merch
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Anyway, good dude.
Yeah.
Guys, is there anything I'm missing? The show with the Black Pumas is on August 24th, and that's at the Mohawk. Anything else around that time? You guys doing any traveling?
Not at the moment. We have stuff lined up for the fall that we just can't announce yet. But
Okay.
definitely follow us on Instagram. We're at Nané the Band, Nane
Yeah.
the Band.
Yeah, really exciting announcement in October. Really exciting announcement in November. We have videos coming out that are being produced, like where I work, that are extremely talented people. As I work in film and music.
Awesome. What do you do?
So I'm the brand manager for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre horror franchise,
Oh, no shit.
but I work in very close relation to a company called Onion Creek Productions.
Yeah.
Super wonderful people. Shout out to Aaron Brown, and Pat Cassidy's my boss,
Oh,
who
cool.
also manages
Yeah.
bands in town.
Yeah, nice
Wild
dude.
Child and Whiskey Shivers. Wonderful
I think
humans.
Pat was on he was on a panel that I moderated
No way.
like
Yeah.
a couple years ago or something.
Yeah, I
For
see.
Austin Music
I
Foundation.
see that sweet man every day. But yeah, so they're helping us out with our videos. So we're lucky to have that, and we've got the pieces
You
coming
guys,
together, man.
You're dating the chick whose dad produces your album.
Oh,
You're working.
no.
You guys are just. You guys are. You guys get the one. Like, first of all, you're super talented. Okay, just from that one song. But I assume that you must be even better. So, the other thing is, you know the right place at the right time thing, don't you?
Yeah,
Accidentally. I mean,
Hey,
the
you
way
know
it all
what?
collided is pretty
Windows
beautiful.
Windows
Crazy.
open.
Yeah,
That's how
they
things
have.
happen. And some people like you're not doing this, but like a lot of people are always like, oh, this is it's a shortcut, and this is bullshit because it's a shortcut. The thing is, as long as you're talented, then who gives a fuck how you got there, really?
Right.
Because the Beatles, and I don't know if you guys know this story, but it's been documented in many of their documentaries. Their manager borrowed money from his dad and bought 20,000 copies of Please Please Me so that the Beatles would chart.
Oof,
Yeah.
I
He
did
cheated.
not know that.
And that's how people were like, oh, what's this song? I mean, it turned out, luckily, the
Thank
song was
you.
amazing.
Yeah.
Thanks
And
for
the
taking
band
that.
turned out to change the entire world. But
Yeah.
we probably, maybe we would have, but that guy
He probably sold a few of those 20,000 copies too.
Yeah, I'm sure he got his money
Down
back
the
like in a
road,
couple
yeah.
weeks after
Can we
that.
have
Like,
a few? Nope.
here you go, Dad. What's the big?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Anyway, people can find you guys at nanetheband.com, and also you're Nané the Band on
Instagram,
Instagram?
yeah, as well,
Okay.
and Facebook.
Facebook as well.
Yeah, Nané the Band.
Nané the Band, baby.
That's who we are, baby.
You know how to do it.
Thank you guys for listening to us
Dude,
and for having us over here. Man.
Thank you guys for being on the show,
Really
and it was a
appreciate
real pleasure meeting you. What's the name of the album? Do you know?
We're kind
Okay.
of dancing with that right now.
And it's going to be out 2020. No date. Yet.
It'll be either out in January or February, but it's,
okay,
it's coming
so
in
Early
hot.
2020.
soon.
Yeah,
All right.
it's coming in
Early
hot.
2020.
All right, we'll come back in December or something. We'll talk again.
We'll be
Well,
happy to
Great
be
having
here.
you guys on.
Thank you.
It's a music foundation.
I know. Man, you guys did a lot of fucking songs in a row. Different bands.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like, what? I don't even know how many are. 12?
No, there was 5 bands.
5 bands. 2
Yeah,
songs each.
but there's 10 songs.
Yeah, man. They ended up really great.
Yeah, they did end up really great. Did you? How do you like engineering?
I dig it, man. I love more than engineering. Like, I love being able to learn how to actually like manufacture a sound. You know, like be able to hear a sound in my head and see it through instead of just like trying to chase something. So I think that's the whole reason I do it. French is good at teaching me that shit.
Yeah, he is. God, he's hilarious too, man.
Yeah, man. There's nobody like him in the world to me. Like,
Nobody like him. He is a unique dude.
yeah.
Ian, do you dabble in the studio arts?
I hope to. I
black
have
arts?
I have a fairly rudimentary setup around here, but I used to actually do it more when I was in high school, and then college, moving around all sorts of stuff. It just got tricky to have like a better setup. But now I'm at a place that I've actually been at for a year. I think it's the first time in 6 years I haven't had to move after 8 or 9 months or something. So I can actually start to build something that has a semblance of production quality about it. But I'm definitely interested. Daniel certainly has the leg up, though. Not that it's a competition, but it always is in my head.
I've been pushing it. I gave him like an interface. It ended up not working for him, but yeah, I've been trying to push him into it, and he's good for it.
Congratulations on your album, which is coming out November 13th. This will be out on Friday.
Cool.
So who
Let
knows?
me get this cat out of here.
Your cat is freaking out because of the election as well. Maybe Friday they'll know who was the president. Do you think it's going to be one of those things where it takes a long time?
I think like undoubtedly he's going to make a huge fuss out of it, whether he wins or loses. It's going to be a mess. I think there's going to be this whole mail-in thing that he's already created distrust around for the last 8 months. He already said he wasn't going to leave peacefully too, which I think is bananas as president.
I know, it's crazy. Okay, so let's go back to this album. Congratulations. You guys did a great job. It was produced by the great John Speast and engineered and mixed by Adrian Quesada. How was that? I mean, those are some masterful cats.
Oh yeah, they're talented as hell. No, it was so special getting to work with them, man, because John's like the depth of his knowledge, like the well that is John is so deep that he was able to like help us develop that sound so early with rooted in like really sophisticated and refined choices that we didn't have at the time. And, working with Adrian, he's just such a musical body. Like, I think it just oozes out of him in a really beautiful way. So it was awesome to get to work at that level so early in our career and to make something that we're proud of. So we're stoked.
You should be,
It's
man.
great. Yeah, it's great to also see kind of how direct John is in working with us. There wasn't a time where I was kind of thinking, Well, I have no idea what he's talking about. Like, he's really good about walking you through, like, okay, I have this idea and I want the drums and the bass to react like this for this section. And it's just like pretty clear direction where you're like, oh, and that sounds amazing. And
Yeah.
I really appreciate that vision being spoken to in such a clear way.
Where did you guys do it, at Adrian's place?
Yeah, we did it at his last studio. He just recently moved
Right.
a few
Yeah.
weeks ago, or months ago. I don't know how long it's been, but yeah, we did it at the last one. And it's cool, man. I like the vibe.
When did you do this?
I think that was like March last year, 2019. Was that it, Ian?
Yeah, we started, I think we had 5 days total of recording split between January of 2019 and then March of 2019. Those were the like in the Electric Deluxe studio where we were actually in there for about maybe 8-hour days, probably around then. Some of them are a little shorter, but yeah, 8 to 10 hours maybe at the most.
Yeah, we moved quick, and we had most of it recorded by the time we played our fourth show, if not all of it. So I think having that engineering on the way in, engineering meaning like what our sound was going to be and what our look was going to be and what we were doing, was thought out beforehand, and it allowed us to start with a little bit more knowledge and continue to develop. And I think, it's just where we wanted to be.
Yeah, definitely. What you said that you guys, John did some stuff with the songs. Did you guys do pre-production with him, or did you already have demos done, or what's the deal?
We had demos, so we rehearsed at our bassist Scott's house, and so we have some mics, and we both have some knowledge of engineering, and so we track these demos, and then we would meet up with John at like a music lab, and just develop these even further. So he was really intent on pre-production, really intentional. I don't know, we had at least 5 to 10 pre-production sessions, maybe more.
And how, like, what all would he do to the songs, like surgically?
Yeah, for sure. I think specifically one that always comes to mind is a track called "Something's Gotta Give."
Yeah.
And that track was about 10 BPM quicker. And we often kind of not blew through it, but played it without the kind of intent and emotion that song really deserves. And that was one of the first changes he made was, look, this song needs to go slower. More like Since I've Been Loving You, like those old
Right.
She's So Heavy, like that kind of 6/8, da, na, 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 that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he brought it down to that tempo, immediately made the song that much more powerful because Daniel's lyrics in that song are really important as well. And we could hear them more easily since the song was slowed down.
He changed the drums in every song and made them really dance with the vocals and impact them in a really powerful way. So like the drums throughout that whole thing. And for example, Blue Velvet, any percussion that was added to our record was done by John at my house or at Buzz Recording Studio. And it was, it's just, like I said, that like when he explains what rhythm he's actually using, and you're like, it's like some ancient rhythm, and it's just
Right.
so sick that I think it helped us get to another level as well. Because
Right.
it's so sophisticated and it's so sick.
Did he play drums on it?
No. Our drummer, Brady Knippa,
Okay.
who's now the drummer with Dayglow, and we adore him. He played drums. So as you can imagine, having John Speece be your producer and Brady, who's a really talented drummer, but like when your producer plays that instrument, you know the difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With Frenchie and he's, coaching someone through guitar or something, so it's just a different thing when it's your instrument. And how I kind of treat whenever I produce vocals for another person, it's like I harp on and I make that the best that I can and really everything it could be. So
Brady did just a great job. Shout out to him. He took that critique and advice in stride and was able to adapt really quickly too, which is impressive. Not that
That's
he was
great.
doing anything that was completely outlandish or whatever, but he just was super open to listening to John, and it really showed in the work he did on the album.
Yeah. And you guys had Duran on there.
Oh yeah,
I love that dude, man.
Dude, he's the best.
It's amazing.
Yeah, he really is. He's fucking great.
I just saw him this week, and he's just crazy talented, man. I
Yeah.
had him work on the record I did, and he came in for 2 hours and got through like 6 songs without ever having heard them. Counter melodies, creative lead lines. It was all Duran.
Yeah. So, you guys, when were you guys on here? Like last year or the year before that or something?
I think it was like April 2019 or something
Okay.
like that. It was in the.
Yeah, I feel like it was right before we were going to play that Bob Schneider Memorial Day show last year.
I thought you were going to say the Bob Schneider Memorial Concert, and I was like, he died?
Yeah, you might not have heard.
So you guys did shows at the Black Pumas. Like that was in October, right, when they did those shows?
Yeah, that was September. That was
September.
August, I think. But it was hot. It was really hot.
Yeah. That's always great, isn't it? So you guys, basically what I'm getting at is your thing was ramping up. You had these new recordings in the can by this point. You're thinking about releasing it. You probably had some good South by Southwest stuff cooking.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And then the shutdown happened. And what did you guys already have a release date or something? And you pushed it back, or what went down when the shutdown happened?
Our release date was like always tentatively like August, but we pushed it back further and decided to release more singles. Like I always wanted to release at least 5 singles, but we ended up pushing more just because we wanted to engage for as long as we could and give each song like as much attention as we can, right? Because I view like each song as like the door to your house, and the house is your band. Like you invite people with each single one, and you just want to create as many connection points as you can. Video, pieces of merch, little pieces of BTS. Like you can bring so much attention to a single over the course of a month or two that you can capitalize on. So we just kind of stretched that out, and also kind of dropped a random single that isn't on the record called Quarantine.
Yeah.
So that's not even on the record. It was just more of an era piece that was only appropriate to release, during this thing.
Yeah.
So we pushed back to November, and it felt like the right thing to do. And that'll give us enough time to push that for a few months while we write the second record, man.
How did you do that Quarantine song?
I did it. So the majority of the idea, I did it in my house with this.
Yeah, one of those light up boxes things.
Yeah, one of the light up boxes. Machine MK3, a little bit of despair, a little bit of hope. This is right at the beginning of quarantine, like maybe month 1, where like no timeline is honest and all feedback is like contradictory. And I was like, man. And then there's like one day, like I saw like UFOs had been proven to exist, but that was like barely a headline. I was like, this is crazy, man. Like everything is just evolving and devolving. So I think somewhere in that hopefulness and hopelessness, this weird little idea came out, and it was inspired by the song like Living in America by Salt, where he just does this. You should listen to that song. It's an interesting. Salt is an amazing band. But just kind of this that communicated this disarray, and I tried to make it positive.
We hadn't seen each other in months too at that point. I think the first time we saw each other was when I helped with the little bridge section. Mm-hmm. It was really cool to see kind of what Daniel had come up with, pretty much a fully fledged crazy quarantine idea that I was like, man, yeah, these are crazy times. We don't really know what's going on. And then we ended up doing it at the Bubble with Frenchie.
Oh, yeah.
Mixed and engineered the heck out of that thing, man. He helped elevate it to this whole new level. But originally, most of the idea itself was done by, I used the guitar as a bass and this pad and, little keyboard here in my studio. And then Ian gave that bridge something important that the song needed, and Frenchie completed the idea.
And Frenchie's cool with taking in the stuff already done tracks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he is. If it's as long
good.
as it's happening well, you know what I mean? He's down.
Yeah.
We were talking about working with people that they play your instrument or whatever. And it was really cool to get to work with Frenchie. It was my first time like in the studio with him. And, there's probably like 5 guitar tracks on there that really made the choruses especially just huge. And it was really fun to kind of get to play around in guitar land for hours, because I didn't totally get to do that as much on the first record. Obviously there's, overdubs and guitar solos and stuff. It took me a little bit longer than the rest of the instruments, but it was really fun to get to lay down some serious and fun, interesting guitar tracks on that Quarantine song.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the weird shit in there that you probably can't even hear. Like, not clearly, but like there's all kinds of weird stuff.
There is. It was really fun though. And the texturally, it definitely adds to it. Like I can tell the little like wah pedal in the chorus. It's just like, it's very low, but when you're listening, I'm like, oh yeah, I can hear that.
Yeah.
It's like a synth guitar pedal in the chorus.
Yeah. Doing that, like, there's so many sounds.
Is this record coming out physically? Is there a physical?
So we actually do have like 250 manufacturers of the vinyl. We're just kind of waiting on for this single standalone thing, and so that will exist. But we're just kind of on hold with Gold Rush. I'm sure they have a lot of work with everything they're doing. They're amazing, so they're always busy.
Yeah. So you guys are gonna play a show. Is this your first show since like February or something?
Man, it's just about, dude. We played ACL live with Black Fred, and that was so sick to be back. Like, it was amazing.
When was that?
When was this, Ian?
Mid October, I think, something like 15.
Didn't I see some of that?
Maybe
I saw something you did.
you watched me go. Like, I was recording Awesome Music Foundation with Frenchie at the Bubble, and then you watched me go to my manager's house and like record a live set for Nané with Ian and I, and then come back for Awesome Music Foundation.
Oh, that was when we had the
yeah. That's what I saw. Okay.
The rose petals falling in front of the camera.
Yeah. AMF Day. But no, we did this thing with Brownout at for Black Fred, and man, I had never played a stage like that. I know Ian hasn't either, where the biggest stage we played was Nutty Brown, and this was ACL Live. The sound was like impeccable, and you could like feel the drum like in your shoes, like in your soul.
Yeah.
And it was like, dude.
The first time I've ever played somewhere where when you can kind of hear outside your monitor area and you hear back, and you're like, wait, whoa, like this sounds unreal.
Dude, I'm in this band Skyrocket, and we do private stuff there sometimes, but that's a gig where like you might have 150 other just regular gigs. I'm not going to call them shitty, but compared to that, they are. You know what I mean? But they're regular gigs, and you're kind of used to it, right? But then all of a sudden you play one gig at the ACL Moody Theater, and you're like, the next gig you go play, you're like, oh, this sucks, man. Because it really, like, that's exactly what I've always wanted it to be. Like, nice like that. You got your own room. They've got cookies and stuff back there for you.
Oh, yeah. Our rider was like, it was just stacked as hell. It was great.
A shower so you can, make your bass player feel weird and keep on going like, hey, come on, let's take a shower before the show.
More time before the show.
Specifically request he take a shower for no reason other than we have to use it.
So is there video? Did they film that? Was that a live stream, or when did that happen?
I think they filmed it. I don't know if they're releasing it yet. I never actually got word of that, but I'm pretty positive they did film it. But no idea what they're going to do.
It wasn't a live stream, though, but I think they were saying something about maybe releasing a song or two from it. But obviously there were cameras set up, and like there was video in the dressing room. You could see the stage, and I mean cameras were cutting to different shots and stuff. It wasn't just like a single camera setup. So hopefully there'll be some video from that.
Some ACL kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Did you guys that Clementine Tree live video? That's just straight up live.
Yeah,
that's what you guys just sound like.
Straight up live, bro. Straight up.
You're great, man.
Thanks, man. You're man.
I mean, how much, like when you went to go record this record with John Spees, did you guys do it, what do you call that record, just Nané?
Yeah, it's just subtitled.
I know, but like when you guys talk about it amongst yourselves, what do you call it? The record?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you guys did the record, there wasn't like a lot of pitch correction and did you guys cut live like a lot of stuff? Like
Yeah.
everybody playing together?
I think if I'm brutally honest, I remember John telling me there was some pitch correction on like Pink Jag and stuff. But for the most part, there was none. And like, for example, one song we already talked about, Someone's Gotta Give, there only exists one take. Like, you'd be surprised that like we didn't spend very much time in the studio. So Someone's Gotta Give only has one take. And I think This I Know had two. And some of these songs were just like, here it is. Here's what this thing sounds like. And so, this was really early on. And since then, like, even the nuances of how I sing it have changed, because think about it, man, we recorded into our second month or first month of performing. So, the nuances you develop as a musician, I hadn't been fleshed out, but I think it's only improved. And I think it was good then. It's only improved.
You guys are still a really new band.
Yeah, man. We were around for like a year and a few months, and then everything got put on pause.
That's a really sad. So you guys were on the show. You guys had only been a band for like a month or 2 months when you were on my show last time?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Couple, three at the most, a performing band that, you could actually ask to play a set and we'd have material. But we've definitely written like most of the album kind of in the year before Daniel and myself and Scott, our bass player, were the kind of the three that began to write a decent chunk of that record together.
Okay, so you guys all, because I was going to ask you, is this like a Tears for Fears, Hall & Notes kind of thing where it's you two kind of as the guys?
Yeah, well, Ian and I lead the band definitely and do most of the writing, but Scott definitely helps lift us up. So I would say he does some writing, and Jerron Marshall does as well. He's going to be on our second record and stuff. Whether or not, we'll be able to have him perform with us, we have a soul tie to that band, and he helps elevate it all.
Yeah, he is, once again, a motherfucker. Like, that dude is great. And what a nice guy, too.
Yeah, he's amazing. We could have a whole podcast just singing his praises.
Yeah,
I mean,
always. I think I had him on, like, twice, like, in 4 months or 3 months, which is kind of like, I don't ever normally do that.
Yeah.
Well, he's got that much stuff going on. He's got so many fantastic projects too. Like, there's no way that you can't talk to him. You can talk to him every week.
Yeah, totally. Your album release show is the day this comes out, which will be the day that the album comes out, which is Friday, November 13th at 7 p.m. Their doors are at 7 p.m. at the Garage at Empire Garage, and you're with Animals on TV. And so I went to the ticket link to see, like, oh, how's this set up in this new world? And it's set up pretty clearly. Like, hey, man, this is the jam. You can get some tables with 4 people pods. They even call them pods. All 6 feet apart.
Yeah, man, it's cool to watch how they're doing this, and Empire's taking the leap into doing this safely. Ticket prices are a bit higher than normal to accommodate, like, the Save Our Stages and the cleaning and all these things. But it's like the pods in the front are 2 people pods, $60 a seat. So it's $120. And then it goes down in price every single row you go. So $60 a seat, $55 a seat, $50 a seat, all the way down to $20 as you descend. And some tables are for 2, some tables are for 6.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
How do you guys, I mean, obviously you're excited about this, but how do you feel about coming back? Like,
I mean, I can only speak for myself on this one, but when we did ACL Live, honestly, I can humbly say, though, we like tore through that show. Like, I felt really happy about how we performed, and I feel like the energy of this pent up bullshit really came out in a beautiful way for all of us. And I think the release show is just going to be the same kind of thing. Like, we're all a little bit cagey and putting what we love on hold. So it's just going to like,
yeah, I mean, I'm incredibly ready, and I know the whole band is. We're just super, super excited. And the great thing about that ACL Live show too is everyone was really excited in the crowd too, and also was very conscious about being safe, which was great. Like, I never felt weird about people or anything like that. Like, people were like, we're just so happy to be out here. We're so happy to be supporting you. And I think that's hopefully how the show's going to go on the 13th too.
Yeah, it's cool to see, like, there is a way to do this safely. Like we watched it at ACL Live. These tables are like 10 feet or more apart. If you get up and dance, it's like at your station, but people still get to feel like the pulse of live music, which I think is like important for humans to exist in.
Yeah.
It's cool.
You're doing a thing that Sunday, set opening for Golden Dawn Orchestra at the Love and Light Stream. I went to that last week.
Heck yeah. Whose was last week? I know there was quite a few of them.
I saw Max Frost and Dossie and Sam Houston.
Yeah, man. All powerhouses right there.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. I thought they did a really great job. Like, it sounded great, looked great. They have jumbotrons on the side. It's the same kind of thing, but the pods are your car space, and there's a little space on either side of your car so you can get out and dance if you feel the need, or bring lawn chairs or some shit.
Yeah.
Whatever. It was a vibe. It was good.
Yeah, and I've been watching stories and people enjoying those, man. It seems sick, you know? You can have your own little crew and have your distance, but enjoy it. You know, our friends Nightcap just played one last week and with Mount Joy, and so they looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah. Those are other ones where the ticket price is a little higher, but it's like per car.
Yeah. I think that the pricing, when you look at it immediately, might be a little daunting because you think it's like for one person, but it's like for pods, you know?
Right.
You have to buy a pod, for lack of a better word, a cubby.
Just love we're talking in this future language now.
I know.
I mean, it's a little more expensive, but you get the pod. Everyone's just in their own pod. You can dance in your pod.
Did you download your?
Well, I mean, I can't stress enough that the Love and Light Stream thing, it was together. Like, they give you a goodie bag with like popcorn and snacks and like 4 Red Bulls for free. And then like there's a guy from Waterloo. He's like, hey, you want this 8-pack of seltzer water? They just give it to you. And then like the ordering the snacks thing, like you just do it on your phone. And like, I'm not kidding. Like, within 5 minutes, a dude pulls up next to you in a golf cart and hands you a bag of beer. So,
wow.
Yeah.
This is the future.
Then there's a guy just selling blow, but no, I'm just joking.
Yeah.
Lurking in between the cars.
It's just text him and there's an app for it. It's called Blow app.
It's never been easier.
I've got a 5-star customer rating on that app.
It's called Uber. White Fret. Anyway, these songs are fantastic. Do you guys write them together?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. How does that work?
Yeah, some of them are like, I'll bring an idea to the table and Ian and I'll send it back and forth. Sometimes it's we just sit in a room with Scott in Geron and just kind of vibe and see what comes out of it. And then, you know, I'll latch onto something I can sing to and kind of help conduct that. But it's really like contingent on their talent and how talented they are, because I can only conduct so well if the talent isn't high, and theirs is insane. So that's how we do it. Sometimes I bring a baked idea. Sometimes it's half baked, and Ian and I just send it back and forth from one another. So there's countless times I've plugged his voice memos into my Pro Tools and tried to add like drums and things to it.
That's cool.
Yeah, if it's ever from me, it's usually just kind of a guitar riff or line. I might have like an idea for a melody or something, but Daniel's always better at coming up with melodies than I am.
What's your guitar background, Ian?
So I've been playing since I was about 6. I was a classically trained guitarist. I loved music when I was growing up, and my parents were like, well, look, you can play guitar, but you're going to learn classical guitar because it's important to kind of understand the theory behind music and being able to kind of finger pick. And I feel lucky that I kind of can read music, and I know kind of what each chord is functioning as and kind of why it's doing that. I mean, there's a lot of music that's totally intuitive as well. Like when you play in a 5 chord, you want to go to the 1 no matter what. Like no one has to teach you that. You're just naturally going to be like, oh, well, that sounds good. But it was really great as far as my education and being able to write music. So I did that at UT when I met Daniel. I was a classical guitar and music business, which is no longer a program at UT.
Music business isn't? Or classical guitar?
Music business is not. Classical guitar very much is. But
Oh, wow, that's weird. What happened to music business?
Didn't get enough money, which is unfortunate. They wanted to kind of focus in on a little more of the conservatory style of teaching. But even then I was thinking, even if they got rid of the program, they should at least offer a couple classes for people that learning bassoon and then just being like, well, what do I do after I can tear up the bassoon? But now what? Like, how am I not going to get ripped off? Where am I going to use this? How do I market myself as a musician? How do I make connections? How do I make sure my stuff doesn't get stolen? There's just so many things that are important to know.
Well, I'm going to close this blind.
They cut the music production program too, right?
They cut music production and music business. And I guess the production program is kind of how Daniel and I eventually got connected at UT, was indirectly through the music production program.
Yeah.
And you went to school there for that? Did you finish, Daniel?
Yeah. I finished though with a degree in PR and marketing. So
how's that working out? You have a publicist. Your publicist is the one that sent me this stuff. So.
I pay someone else to do it.
That's what they taught him. Never rely on yourself.
When you get out, pay someone else to do this. No, I mean, it's good. Like I feel it actually. I didn't expect to be as helpful as it actually is. Like the mind that goes into promoting these songs as an independent artist right now, you're kind of like an agent and a manager and your own PR guy. You are all of these things, and you have to think promotion minded. And I think that's kind of helped like the longevity of our singles and my knowledge in video production stuff and how to like share this information in a way that's longer.
Did you make that quarantine video?
Heck yeah, man! Directed and produced with alongside Dustin Rathel and Rebecca Mendoza and this company called Desmond Inc. Yeah. But yeah, man, that was another one, big one.
Yeah. Who did the video for Blue Velvet?
So that was just like, quarantine was like a 10 to 20 person crew, 6-day shoot. Like it was a big thing.
Whoa.
Velvet couldn't have been more the opposite. Like it was like just the band and the same guy shot both videos, Gunnar Wadowski, just Gunnar and a camera, one shot as you see. So like, dude, the sound was a nightmare in there, right? You're in a laundromat. Like you clap and you hear it for like 8 seconds, right? So it's
a laundromat. It really is.
Yeah, dude. We had like mics in that thing, and we paid somebody to let us rent it out.
Wait, so you recorded the sound live there?
Oh, 100% live. It is 100%.
What are you,
live.
fucking Pearl Jam or something? Remember Pearl Jam did that when they first came out? Okay, that's cool though, by the way.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So that's what it is what we got. And I was a little worried about the vocals predominantly because I thought they were going to sound like ass, but they actually worked out. You can still hear a lot of bleed in it when you isolate things, but that's kind of the spirit of it. And I think it gave it a little bit of life. But yeah, man, that was just one camera. Band did 4 takes, and whatever it's worth, like all of the movements were kind of nuanced. So I had to make sure to nail it. And the camera guy, Gunnar, had to make sure to go in on the guitar solo and go in on this and go in on. So it was like kind of orchestrated right when we arrived. You know what I mean? Like we had to think through all of our movements. I don't know if you noticed my little
I did.
spin.
Yeah.
And like the dryers are spinning. We had to keep putting money into the machines.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like the budget was all spent on dryer money.
They're fun. And then like our first video always on my mind is playing on the background on the TV.
Oh, okay. Dude, that song is killer too, man.
Thank you, man. That
Always
was
on my mind.
I think that will always be special just as our first release and like it was our introduction to the world, and it was just it's so fun and it's so hard to sing.
You go from like the super sweet like, falsetto at the beginning to just full on screaming at the end.
Just
like a banshee.
Yeah, just yelping, dude. But it's such a fun song and it's super dynamic, but damn, is it hard to sing.
That song just had its 1-year birthday on November 1st. It's been out for 1 year.
Oh, really?
Debut of our first single 1 year ago.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
In 1 year old, it can take place in the Civil War that's starting this week. I'm just joking.
Yeah, it could be the end. Yeah, we get sponsored by the Civil War.
We could sell it to the Civil War as the anthem.
Soundtrack of the Civil War, Nané.
So man, this live recording thing and sort of like the kind of music that you make revolves more around capturing magic than it does carving perfection.
Yes, 100%. And in that, I think a lot of that has to do with, what Frenchie taught me too, is like the beauty in the mistakes and the human things and in that space, instead of necessarily trying to quantize and make everything perfect. You fill the spots with the best players you can have. And, there's not enough said about how good Ian is at guitar. Like, people know how good Jaron is at keyboard. And Ian is incredible at guitar. And the entire rhythm section went to Berkeley. So, like, the pieces for me to fail aren't that high. You know what I mean? When these live recordings are happening. Like, these are some talented dudes. So, yeah, it's really just about capturing the magic and the emotion in that moment. We just have to get into that headspace.
You know what I like is that you guys are all schooled, but it doesn't feel cold in any way. You know what I mean? Not that it would, but you know what I mean?
You're like, I know what you're saying.
Sometimes a classically trained guy isn't funky.
Exactly.
Yeah. I grew up with incredibly kind of a punk rock dad and mom. And so I was listening to the Butthole Surfers when I was a kid, but I was playing Johann Sebastian Bach. So I was like, I've got to have I bet Bach he was kind of the punk rocker of the Baroque era, breaking rules, trying things out, making the king mad occasionally. I don't know if that's entirely historically accurate, but nonetheless, there's always been a part of me. It's a different era. Like, those classical guys were kind of the badasses of that era, where kind of people would be like, you're a composer. I mean, if you're in the king's court, that's a high place of power in a way. But like, Mozart was a fucking dirty man. He would talk about shitting and fucking and doing all sorts of shit. I did a biography on him in 7th grade, and dude was insane. Like,
so does Gibby.
Yeah, so was Gibby Haynes, and he was a accountant at Trinity before he was, fronting that band. So anyway, there's always been an element of just insanity in the way I kind of play and the noises I make on the guitar. Like, I like to leave in the feedback and the grittiness of my playing.
But also there's a funkiness that's not addressed by Gibby or Bach.
No. No, I definitely love the kind of Nile Rodgers kind of style of playing as well. He's an incredible guitar player. I've been
a lot of the funkiness and R&B stuff is kind of like my push, and like the Ian's more the unique like guitar lead lines and like the screeches and like Wolverine and the thing that he does really, really well.
You grew up on soul music? Are you a soul?
I'm an R&B soul cat. So like growing up, it was Louis Armstrong and B.B. King, which is more blues. Bill Withers, Curtis Mayfield, Bobby Womack. Like, it was Isaac Hayes. Like, it was that's the kind of stuff I would listen to. And then we combine that with Ian, who I don't want to speak for him, but just for a moment, just like, he's much more like Talking Heads and Jack White and plenty of others. You combine those two things, and it's just like this gritty and tender soul thing. Like, that's kind of why we go from explosive to tender. But I think it's cool.
Yeah.
The Talking Heads definitely influenced kind of the dancier, funkier stuff. Not that they were a funk band by any means, but think of like the Remain in Light, jams on that song. Yeah.
Are you guys fans of did you guys see that thing, the American Utopia thing that he did?
Mm-hmm. I saw that. I was lucky enough to see the tour when it came to Bass.
Oh, wow.
I was super lucky. So I got to see it live, and I watched a bit of the Spike Lee directed it.
Yeah.
So I've seen a bit of it. I want Daniel to watch it too, because it's
what is it?
It's David Byrne concert last year on Broadway. It's fantastic.
It's one of those things where like I saw it was coming on now that I don't have any life on Saturday night anymore. And so I was like, I put it on like right when it started. And I don't think I moved until it was over. Like, I just sat there. It was
The choreography,
Yeah.
the lighting, the narrative. There's a narrative there that's not. It's not in your face or anything, but there's totally a story and a reflection that's going on in real time. That's fascinating. That
an
came
arc
across.
to the whole. Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, Stop Making Sense does that too to me.
Definitely.
Like even just the way it builds from him and the boombox to like a band and like a whole scene.
Right. There was definitely some elements there too. I mean, the build from him holding the brain,
Right.
kind of echoes the tape machine and Stop Making Sense. So
Do you ever
obviously. You go.
Sorry, no, Daniel, do you ever see that? Stop
No.
Making Sense?
I did not.
Oh, we're bumming
Wow.
you out right now, just talking a bunch of shit that you don't never even seen.
Gage, man.
Man, I have a great Jerry Harrison story. I could either bore you guys with it or not. But it
Please.
takes place at
One
Music
more
Lab.
me.
Okay. Okay, so I was in this band Gowdy with Einar, right? This guy, Einar Peterson. And we were doing pre-production, and Johnny Lang was doing pre-production there too. Only this was like in 1998. So he was young. It was Music Lab on Old Torf. Okay, I'll make this fast. So Jerry Harrison was in there doing the pre-production with him, the keyboard player from Talking Heads. So who also produced a lot of great records. So I'm walking out to get a Coke. I'm like, wow, that's Jerry Harrison. And he's outside talking to Johnny Lang. And then Johnny Lang's girlfriend comes up and starts like literally just like laying down the law. Like, I don't want to be here long. I want to go to a place that's more fun than this. This is a terrible place you brought me to. I don't know why I didn't just stay at the hotel. And Jerry Harrison looks at me, who's standing at the Coke machine. He raises his eyebrows and shakes his head. That happens again like a couple days later. Then a couple days after that, we're at Waro's having lunch, and he's facing me at another table, and she starts doing the same thing. And he looks at me, and he's like, right? Like, he doesn't say anything, but he's like, so I was like eyebrows, and like I was going through it with Jerry Harrison, but we never spoke a word. But I was there for him during that time.
That's amazing.
I feel like that's something he might remember. Like, I remember you. Thanks, buddy.
Even at an airport one day, you're just gonna look up.
Exactly. Yeah. I know you, man. Thanks. So after you do this weekend of shows, then what happens? You guys have music. You were alluding to a next album.
Oh yeah, man. So we have probably 20 to 30 ideas written, only about 7 fleshed out, maybe less. So now it's just time to kind of buckle down and actually write lyrics and the nuances of these tracks, but it's simultaneously just pushing and promoting the record. So finally it won't be thinking about our next release though. You know what I mean?
Right.
We'll do the constant push, doing ads, publicists and things, but we'll be able to focus into being creative because it's tough, man, being, having to think type A and type B at the same time. Like, let me write a song, let me do data analytics, like all in the same 2 hours. Like it's kind of hard, you know what I mean? To bounce back and forth. So I'm excited to be creative.
Do you guys share those duties?
Yeah. No, we share them with our manager Rebecca, who is like the guiding force of it all.
Do I know Rebecca?
I don't know. You might have met her. She's been at the Bubble a few times, but I don't know if you met her.
Okay. What else? Tell me more about stuff. It was great getting to hang out with you at the Bubble there.
Yeah, man, that was a lot of fun. That was cool.
I don't know if I could ever be an engineer. I produced a few records, and I thought, like, I went to recording school too,
Yeah.
And I thought, like, once I saw the gig and really, I was like, man, I don't know if I could just sit there and be that quiet all the time.
Yeah, I want to talk about.
Really, yeah.
No, there's definitely that sensation because, like, I'm like I'm a producer first, and so like I want to chime in and things, but really the value that I get from like Frenchie taking the time to teach me things and how to chase down a sound and learning about his mind, which Pandora's box, baby. It makes it all really valuable.
Yeah.
But I understand that though, being quiet and just like pressing a button and like just being really like on top of it and organized and just.
And also, like, you're just kind of there. You don't. They're not asking you for what you think of the kick drum pattern or something. You know what I mean?
Right, and you fight the urge to chime in, man.
feel like I'm bad about making like noises or Jerry Harrison eyes. I feel like I'd constantly be like, oh, what's that? Like what are you like? Just little like or something like that. But even that, like no one wants the engineer to be rolling their eyes at how this is. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, man, I mean, there's already so much going on. But to me, that's where really the magic happens. Like I don't know. What was it, Adrian? Was Adrian quiet as an engineer?
I mean, he was pretty quiet. Like, I wouldn't say like super quiet, but no, John did most of the talking there.
Yeah. He would every now and then like offer a suggestion and be like, oh, like use this guitar. This is going to sound really good for this section of the song. Something like that. So he definitely offered input. He didn't roll his eyes, I don't think. Those
guys are so great. Like they're such like I think out of all their bands, like Money Chicha is the band I saw the most.
Yeah,
you know, because they had that weekly thing at the gallery for a couple years or for a year or something. And I can watch Adrian and Spies like just play all night. You know?
Yeah.
I love Beto Martinez too.
Oh yeah.
He's one of my favorite guitar players in town. That dude is just insane.
And Beto has Leche House Studios,
right,
where he records on the Tascam 388 or the Tascam 388, the reel-to-reel 8-track machine.
I've yet to go there. I want to go see it one day. We're working on a video together right now, and we did a song together, but I don't know when we'll put it out. But
really,
he gets it. His plays are great. We just kind of did a digital thing, since I have a little studio, and he did most of the heavy lifting there. I just sang some lyrics, and we put it together over the web.
And you did it on the Tascam?
No, I did.
Oh.
Me like a wave, and I sent him some vocal and background stems. You know,
he the Bubble started out with the Tascam 388.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Exciting times. I had one for a little while, and then I sold it.
Yeah, Frenchie gave me a Tascam.
He did? Damn.
Yeah, man. I gave it to a friend who's engineering with it more. Like, it was also gigantic. Like it was huge in this apartment, and with the wiring, it wasn't going to work. But
it's 100 pounds or something, isn't it?
Yeah, it's heavy as hell.
Yeah, it's super heavy.
It is. It's.
Well, so what can people expect at this release show? Anything special?
Yeah, I mean, I think what we're excited to share is like we have a short film coming out that'll be out on that day that tells a little bit of the story of my where I come from and Ian and I's process in writing and another live session kind of stuff and then some more really fun and exciting things. So we have a short film, a show, and coming out with unveiling our vinyl and our brand that was done by Preacher, who's like my favorite design firm.
That's the people that did the artwork for the album, because it's fucking great.
Yeah, man, they did the artwork for the last 3 single or 2 singles, Clementine, and the vinyl, as well as like our branding, meaning like our logo, our typography, some merch ideas, posters. Like it's bananas, dude. These guys are incredible.
Yeah, we'll have more of that kind of rolling out as the album comes out. We'll have opportunities for people to purchase vinyls and new merch and things like that. So
I'm excited about that.
Yeah,
I would like to purchase a vinyl. How many vinyls are you making?
I think we're gonna make 500.
That's a lot.
And, yeah, we're gonna hope we can sell them all, but I think we can over the time.
All right. Is there anything I'm missing on here? I like you guys, man. I really do love this album. Really did a great job. And those guys did a great job too, everyone involved. Even Frenchie on Blue Velvet.
Yeah,
Even
man.
Frenchie.
Even
I love that dude so much.
Oh, me too, man.
I always wonder if it shows. Like that was like I said, I moved to Austin in 1991 and I worked at Whole Foods, and he moved to Austin in 1991 and he worked at Whole Foods. And that's where we met, as these kind of dudes that worked at Whole Foods that like we're trying to start bands in Austin.
That's so awesome. I didn't
Yeah.
know you were with him because he's
Yeah.
told me stories from those days. That's so. How did you meet Einar?
Einar, I met in Houston before I moved here. Einar was in a band. My first memory of Einar is, the earthquake that was in Oakland during the World Series in 1989.
Yeah.
That's my first memory of Einar. Standing, like he was doing sound check with his band, and then we were all watching the TV together. And he was making me laugh the whole time. He was making jokes that were really inappropriate, but they were really great. And then he joined a really good friend of mine's band, and then he and I became really good friends. And when they moved to Austin, he moved in with me and my wife for like 4 months or something. And then
That's
he and I ended up playing together.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm wondering because you guys go back. I mean, it's like that's 30 years or so. For being friends.
Yeah, it's a lot. It is a lot with both of those dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've all seen each other at our worst too. It's pretty funny.
You stand the best out of all each other. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Cool. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Those three.
That's a fortunate thing. I mean, do you guys feel like before we go? Do you guys feel that kind of connection here? Because that whole like my involvement with Austin Music Foundation is for that. Is to keep that going. Is to keep like, hey, there's people here that are your fucking brothers and sisters. You lean on them when you need them.
Yeah. I definitely feel that community, and know that my friendship with Ian is a long-standing one, and know that there's like things in place, like you said, like Austin Music Foundation, where we're able to and we'll be able to continue to funnel that kind of community, dude, for sure.
Right. Well, to me, it's not even just that thing. Is that in Austin Music Foundation, I feel like the most important role I can have is to keep that sort of like I have Mark Hallman, who owns the Congress House.
No.
He's a producer here. He's worked with tons and tons of people. He mixes records and masters records, but he's got a studio down south. And like I've known that guy since I was 13, and he's the guy that kind of brought me into this world.
Yeah.
It's like a guy that like when you're figuring out pedals, like shit like that. Right down to like business stuff, like, oh shit, I don't know if my record label's going to drop me. And Frenchie and those guys, the 16 Deluxe guys, were going through all their kind of crap. I don't know how much you know about their history, but it's pretty intense. They got to a place where things were about to be really good, and there were some drug issues with members in the band. And I remember being there with Frenchie, like sitting on a hood of a car, like listening to him, just like, listening to him figure out how he's going to fucking save his career. You know what I mean? And his friend's life, at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Anyway,
heavy.
yeah. But I love that shit. And that's one of the things that I think is truly unique about Austin, whatever happens between us behind the scenes. Like now, I mean, like Ian, I know you from the first time you guys were on or whatever. And now, but like Daniel, I feel like, we're friends. I tell people we're friends.
Yeah.
I hope you don't go like, who, Johnny Gotti? He says we're friends? Well, I don't know. I guess.
You can start telling people we're friends.
Okay, good. So Ian, we're on the same level. All right.
Yeah, I feel like every time, I remember the last time I was on here, Beto definitely wanted to say hello. So I'm sure he'd appreciate it if I told you hello again, Beto.
Oh, Beto from KLBJ.
Yeah.
My friend. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's a great dude, too. He's really helped us out.
He is a great dude.
Yeah.
16 years ago, I offended him on a television show.
Hell.
Did he tell you that?
I think that we might have brought this up last time.
Yeah.
Like the music awards.
Yeah, and he was interviewing me, and I just won an award, and I looked at my watch and rolled my eyes. I rolled my eyes. Exactly why I shouldn't be an engineer or a person interviewed on television.
He'd probably say that's how I talk to him all the time. I'd be like, you never listen to me. You're just looking at your phone.
Yeah. Well, tell him I said hi when you see him.
Oh, well, I should talk to him this week. We're hopefully going to do something with him during the release week.
Oh, good. Yeah, and congratulations. Good luck with the release. This will come out on Friday, so give the people a little chance to get their tickets for the release show, which, by the way, looks really fun.
Yeah, man.
Great talking to you guys.
You, bro.
And stay in touch.
Yeah, please.
All right.
Absolutely.
Take care. Thanks for doing the show.
Take care, Johnny.
I'm not for everyone, and you're not for everyone. I'm still here to make.
That's Daniel Sahad and Ian Green from the band Nané. Their self-titled debut album comes out next Friday, November 13th. Find them at nanétheband.com. Great talking to those dudes. And don't forget, they're doing that their release show next Friday at the garage, at Empire Garage. It's all totally, we talked all about it. You checked it out. They're playing next Friday. Doors are at 7. They're also playing the Love and Light stream on November 15th. Go to nanétheband.com for more information. Great talking to those guys, man. I really like Daniel a lot. I feel like he's my bro. I'm glad he's my friend. Don't forget, gang, when you're out there checking out nanétheband.com, you can subscribe to this podcast wherever it is that you find podcasts, be it Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Overcast, Stitcher. Anywhere you find podcasts, new shows every Tuesday and every Friday. You guys still nervous about the election? I mean, I'm doing this on Thursday, so maybe when I'm doing this and you're listening to it, you're like, dude, there's already a president. So hopefully it went the way that we wanted it to, and we're all doing great. All right? Have a great weekend, whatever it is you're doing. And hey, gang, don't forget, go to Johnny Gowdy Music or go to our How Did I Get Here Facebook page and check out my show tomorrow night, Saturday, November 7th, from Peace House Farms, live, Johnny, solo, acoustic. Enjoy it, man. Here's the rest of this song, Blue Velvet, by the great band Nané. Check out their self-titled debut album out next Friday, November 13th. Have a great weekend. I love you. Let's get down.